All right, let's talk about some murdering, some bots. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of Season 1 of Apple TV's Plus original series, Murderbot. This will follow Episode 1, which is called FreeCommerce, and is directed by Paul and Chris Weitz. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here is a new series based off the Martha Weitz Murderbot Diaries series. This, of course, is created by Paul and Chris Weitz, who, of course, are known for doing stuff like American Pie. This is a series that I've been looking forward to because I love Alexander Skarsgård. The trailers looked amazing. And it's a series about a robot or an android who basically is a security or a sec robot who in essence becomes self-aware and starts to question his reality, starts to question who he is, and wants to basically put himself into the world of humans who don't see him as a human, of course. So with that said, we have a 10-episode season. This is a series that, once again, has a pretty interesting cast, to be fairly honest. Has David Dastmalchian, Noma Dumezweni, Sabrina Akshay, Khanna, Clark Gregg, John Chu, Jack McBrayer. And yeah, it was a series I wanted to talk about because it's only a half hour long per episode, and I love these unique takes on different series. I was looking forward to it. I want to talk about all 10 episodes. The first 2 episodes premiered today as of this review. And we're going to talk about the first episode, which is called FreeCommerce, which is basically the pilot episode of this series. And basically in this first episode, we get a lot of narration about who this character of what he calls himself, Murderbot, truly is. We see from the very first shot, is a character that in essence is starting to become self-aware, is starting to see realities, is starting to see kind of go beyond his programming, and now becomes a kind of damaged product when it comes to who he is. But we see how his mind starts to think when it becomes, he talks about, do I accept these people? Do I murder these people? Are these people idiots? Do they deserve death? It's basically about a thing becoming sentient to the point where it starts to have humanity in its aspects and soul and so on and so forth. But in the process of everything, after the really cool opening credits, which I gotta say, Apple TV does some really cool opening credits with their TV series. And this one's no different. It has like a really cool aesthetic to it and very comedic, because this is very much a sci-fi action comedy in a lot of respects. But we're introduced to basically a survey team that in essence is the very tropiest of tropes when it comes to characters and the arcs that they represent. We have scientists, we have the team leader, we have, people that are very up their own butts. We have just a bunch of collective group of individuals. They decide whether Murderbot or this robot, this sec unit, is worth keeping around. Is it something that, should they exploit? Should they use to their advantage? And it very much is the corporatization of a thing, a component, and the way that works and how blissfully aware they are when it comes to, or unaware that when they are when it comes to what they're doing and stuff like that. And I love these characters. They're unique. They're weird. How they respond to Murderbot is very interesting, and how the Murderbot kind of narrates kind of how he feels about them. His imaginations that we see in a lot of stuff where it's like this, like you have an instance where he imagines himself killing all the crew to let him go off into the universe. It's kind of like a misdirect in a lot of ways when it comes to it. And I thought that was a lot of fun. It basically is just our introduction to this world and what Murderbot is thinking and how he's thinking. And I think Alexander Skarsgård does a very fantastic job with his drawing and his, mundane nature, and him watching TV shows. They have this show called The Rise and Fall of the Sanctuary Moon, which stars Clark Gregg and John Chu and DeWanda and Jack McBrayer, which feels very much like the USS Callister or Star Trek, kind of spoofs in a lot of respects. And there's about humanity and love with different robotic things and stuff like that. It's really, really funny. The costumes, the look, look and the feel are very, very funny. And that's this way this episode operates. But really, it is just our introduction to these characters. You know, Murderbot is watching TV shows while people are working and questioning whether they need the sec unit and stuff like that. But a big like centipede style creature with two like bodies attacks a couple of the characters, and Murderbot gets, you know, damaged and stuff like that. And it just, you find out that Murderbot looks like a human, so it's almost like an android cyborg with like humanistic skin and stuff like that. Once again, like, people start wondering, especially David Dastmalchian and then, you know, the team leader and stuff like that, whether there's something like weird off about his programming that makes him like, why is he doing what he's doing? Why is he talking the way he's talking? Why did he remove his helmet? And it becomes once again about, you know, the early stages of these characters questioning what is Murderbot's prerogative and what is his ultimate goal. And as we see, like, you know, the leader, the Mensa character talks to Murderbot, and Murderbot's like, I shouldn't have said anything. I should just act like I was in stasis, because he's very much like that kid aspect. He's like that slowly starting to learn things, but he's so kind of, you know, scared and kind of taken aback that he doesn't know whether he should talk. He doesn't know whether she should say something because he's worried he's going to get like discontinued and thrown away. It's really dealing with humanity, dealing with who we are as a being, whether we can be accepted into a world that is, you know, unaccepting of like different individuals. It very much leads into like individuality and who we are as a person and what we are as a person and how that operates in the world that is kind of chaotic and dismantling and just like everything's out of whack. And it really is that kind of showing of what's happening. But once again, like, the watching like from the point of view of Murderbot and his, you know, how he has like the HUD and stuff like that, and there's like screens that he can watch and he can hear everything that they're saying, which is really, really funny. There's some really funny moments that Alexander Skarsgård's character portrays out there. It just kind of makes fun of the whole situation. It really just gets into the nuts and bolts of like what these characters are really doing, why they are the way they are, the questioning that they have, the nature of like, once again, who we are as human beings and who we are as things. And that's kind of where it leads off. Like I said, the TV series that he's watching is really fun and entertaining. And I love Clark Gregg's mustache and stuff like that. And that's kind of where it leads. It's only a half hour long, but it's giving us, you know, some really cool set pieces. It's introducing us to Murderbot. Once again, the Murderbot seems to be kind of a play on words more than it is an actual meaning. Like he imagines himself killing people, but I don't think that's where the story's going. Once again, I have not seen the other 9 episodes. I will have seen at least 2 of them by the time these episodes air, but I haven't seen it yet. Once again, I think this is a great start to a really fun, entertaining series, and I really want to read Martha Wells' novels now because they're not very long, and I just want to see how different it is from the story, but I'm going to wait till I finish the TV series before going to the books. But for a starting kind of piece to this series, it's really fun, it's really entertaining, it's really humorous, it's really dark, and it has moments where I'm like, that's pretty clever, you know, watching Alexander Skarsgård like repair himself and watching him talk about like the world at whole, and he's starting to have visions of what he's having visions of. I don't know, but he's starting to see things which could lead down a darker path, and we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how his mantras and his ideologies and how his self-worth starts to kind of reform. It's once again about how AI and cyborgs might lead to that singularity moment with human beings and stuff like that. And once again, like, David Dastmalchian is similar to like Data, where he has robotic pieces in him and stuff like that. And then the other characters play different versions of Star Trek or USS Callister and stuff like that. It really is a pretty clever TV series. It's a lot of fun. It's very unique and very kind of offbeat in a lot of respects, and I appreciate that. So it's not a very long review because there's just not a lot to talk about. It hasn't gotten into the meat of the series outside of just kind of pieces and parts and how these characters are introduced. But for that is my take on FreeCommerce. Once again, some really cool stuff in this, but overall, to kind of end the review, my official score will be a 9 out of 10 because it definitely could use a few more minutes just to kind of pieces here and there. But for a beginning series, for the pilot of what could be a really fun, really energetic series, a 9 out of 10 is where I think I'll start with this. So that's where my take is on the first episode of Murderbot Season 1, which of course is called FreeCommerce. So there you go. thank you so much for watching. I will have episode 2 of the same day as this review because they both premiere at the same time. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, what did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Tell me why and all that good stuff. But otherwise, if you like what you see on the channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. As always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.